Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope you're all having a really wonderful holiday. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you're having a wonderful day as well. So, today we're going to be talking about Black Cat, a character that I know I was definitely highly anticipating as far as this uniform was concerned because this thing is gorgeous. I love this uniform. I love the giant coat. Her hair looks wonderful. The hat is just icing on the cake, if you will. I mean, she looks sweet as pie, guys. She really does in a kind of devious way. But unfortunately, she's just going to be pretty much relegated to a support buff. That's really what she's going to be. They gave her insanity because what they've done is they gave her an increased all debuff effect by 40% in her passive, which is the same leadership as White Fox. It's something that makes the characters really, really OP for bumping up that all defense down in regular World Boss Ultimate. And then, of course, Dimension Rifts, dispatch missions. I mean, it's just OP for that kind of stuff. But not only that, but then she has an insanity leadership with the increased basic attack to villains by 65% and ignore target dodge rate by 35%. That is nuts. And if this girl had an awakened skill or a tier 3, which I'm sure she'll get one in the future, but this is something I don't like that Netmarble has done. They're doing the whole bait thing where people are like, oh, should I spend money? Should I not? I mean, if she had an awakened skill tier 3, this would be godly for null. That leadership would be godly, especially for your villains. However, she doesn't have one. So you're just kind of stuck with her at tier 2. And I've actually been using this character as a support. I actually tried a couple different obelisk on her. I was using a CTP of Insight on this character, trying to do like dispatch missions running on auto. And then I tried switching to a rage to see if that would actually be better. Actually, at level 60, the Insight was a lot better. I was actually getting more damage from my other characters. And the thing about this character is she buffs up all of these villains. All of these OP villains like Doom and Mephisto and Null. I mean, Null's got a great leadership on his own, and honestly, Doom does too, really, with his uniform effect. But Supergiant, right? Iron Man, Moonstone. I mean, just lots and lots of characters get these huge buffs from having her on the team. And in regular World Boss Ultimate, that's going to be godly, especially if they have a lot of all defense down on them. It's just going to make them crazy for World Boss Ultimate. The problem is most of us are playing against Null. I mean, if you've been playing this game for, I'd say, 3 months, you're probably already facing Null, maybe a little bit longer. I know for 6 months for sure, you're going to be facing against Null. So you're really looking for those characters that can do that. But, I mean, she is useful in dispatch missions. The thing is, I'm finding, at least in dispatch missions, on auto, okay, and Dimension Rifts on auto. Like in Dimension Rift, whenever you're going all the way, let me see, click on here and find it real quick. Whenever you're at level 6, right, this gets extremely hard. And whenever I was trying to use her with, a whole bunch of different villains, like I tried Mephisto and then whoever else, every character that I had available. And unfortunately on my roster, I don't have tier 3 Loki. And this really is, like, if you got this guy at tier 3, having her uniform is going to be very, very beneficial. It's going to be godly for a character like this. But for all the other villains, don't get me wrong, it's still really, really good. But on auto guys with 25% pierce, having over 100% energy attack, having well-built characters, my Mephistos and whoever else are not getting it done on auto. At level 6 Dimension Rift, I got to manually play it. And the same with dispatch missions. I have to manually play it if I want to do like, stage, up in the 11s and 12s in dispatch mission. So that is something to keep in mind. As a standalone character, she's got some power. I mean, she's got a pretty crappy build other than the obelisk that's on her. I mean, her physical attack's only at 20,000. She has max attack stats except for her critical damage, and she does get a critical damage bump. And her ignore defense is only at 40%. And by the way, just to let you guys know, her ignore defense when I originally was playing with her with a rage was actually at 32%. And even though I got 25% pierce, you really do want max ignore defense. I noticed a huge difference from having 32% ignore defense to having almost 30 to having 39. There was a big, big difference because originally I had a Hawkeye set on her and I actually switched it to Power of Angry Hawk. And when I did, my damage went up tremendously. Like it went from doing like a bar and a half against World Boss Ultimate to doing almost 2 bars at times. It made a big difference. So even though, if you have a lot of pierce, you're still going to want max ignore defense so you can still increase all that damage. She doesn't have any Urus on her or nothing like that. As far as her kit, you know, we've talked about the increase all debuff effect, which is OP. The guaranteed dodge is OP for survivability. The one is whatever, the two is kind of whatever. She's got paralysis on the two, which is pretty handy at times, especially for regular world boss. And then the third skill gives her 3 seconds of invincibility. That's really nice because she doesn't get interrupted whenever she does this skill, and it has a remove all debuff. Very, very good for this character. She's also going to be the best leadership with this uniform for Speed Villain Day. However, in ABX. However, Zemo only has 5% less all attack than Black Cat, right? I mean, he's only got 5% less than her. Let me see if I can find him really quick here. Where's my Zemo? I mean, if you look at his kit, yeah, 60% increase, right? Same ignore dodge. All right, so that kind of, you know, like for Dimension Rift and Dispatch missions, I mean, she's going to be a pretty OP character to have, especially if you have a character like Loki. Her 4th skill has an increased all attack by 20%, which is pretty nice. And then it's got a 6-second immunity. So she's got invincibility, she's got immunity, which is pretty cool. She's got remove all debuff. And then on her 5th skill, she actually has an insane, you know, she's got the critical rate buff and the 40% attack buff, but she also has the all defense down that goes up to 60%. This is actually quite nice, especially in dispatch missions and dimension rifts, because with that all debuff effect, by 40% that she has in her passive, this is going up above 70%. That really does help her a lot. I really need to get the character at level 70 so she would do a lot more damage, especially with me having a rage on her and the dispatch missions and dimension rifts. And then of course her passive here decreases all buff effect by 80% and duration by 50%. That's really, really nice, especially for like PvP. And she's a real simple character to play. Now, with the Rage, you're definitely going to play her different, and she is more of a Rage character, at least in my opinion. I definitely got a lot more damage out of a Rage than I would with a proc. But with a proc, I actually found that if you just go 3, and then 4, 5, get the attack buff from the 4 and go into the 5, put the proc on the 5, you'll do more damage in regular World Boss Ultimate. If you try to go 3, and then do the 5, you gotta let the 5 play out a little bit before the all defense down applies, and then you try to put the proc on the 4. The problem is the proc will usually trigger on the 5. That isn't what you want whenever if you're trying to put the proc on the 4. So if people, you know, they're gonna play a little bit different. Some people might go, you know, they might go 3 and then go 4, and then right before they do the 3 again, they'll do the 5, try to apply a little all defense down, shoot up in the air, and then go 3, 4 with a proc. Now, with a Rage, obviously it's going to be a lot easier because then all you got to do is do the 3rd skill, get your residual damage from this thing, right? Hit the 5, and then whenever the proc starts on the Rage on the 5, then I go into the 4. As soon as that proc starts on the 5, I go into the 4. And she will do very, very respectful damage. And I just got to admit here and note that her skills are gorgeous. Like, the Christmas tree, I mean, it's Christmas, right? It's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool. And when she walks around, you got the gold imprints when she's walking around. It's dope. It really is, right? But is this uniform really worth, you know, at a minimum, 20 American dollars? I mean, that's a question you're going to have to answer on your own. And then a uniform effect does give her the critical damage increase by 30% and the chain hit damage by 20%, right? And the guaranteed critical rate, which really helps with a CTP of Rage. At level 70, I don't know if it'd be better to use just a CTP of Insight if you're using her for support, again, Dimension Rifts and Dispatch missions, or if it's better just to have a Rage on her, because I think at level 70 it's going to make a big difference, especially if you have the uniform leveled up, if you have her built up, you have Urus on her. It's going to make a big difference because she's going to be doing a lot more damage. However, I just wonder if it'd be better just to have a CTP of Insight on her. I'm not really sure, to be perfectly honest. At level 60, like I said earlier, CTP of Insight is definitely better on her if you want to do more damage in those game modes. But at level 70, I'm not really sure. So I'll show you guys what she can do in World Boss. And she does got some power. I mean, she's not weak by any means. But this character has some, I mean, she's got the increase all debuff effect passive, and then she's got the crazy leadership, and then she can also benefit from having these 2 supports, right? 50% damage to supervillains from Valkyrie, and then 45% damage to supervillains from Shuri. And the thing about her is it's easy to keep her alive, right? Especially in regular World Boss Ultimate. She's got a heal on her 5. I mean, she's got a pretty complete kit other than not having damage accumulation, right? If they ever give her an awakened skill, they'd probably put accumulation on and make her really OP, because she does got some power, guys. I mean, she is not weak by any means. So I'll go to the 3, jump up in the air, hit the 5, proc starts, hit the 4. And then I'll hit the 2 at the end of the ball slamming down. Waiting for the proc to start. Once it starts, I go into the 4. Ball comes down, and then I hit the 2 for the paralysis. Going to the 4. I mean, look at her damage, right? This is not bad, man. She doesn't have any Urus, nothing like that. And because she's got that guaranteed critical rate, she will proc the rage very easily. Like, it doesn't take much for her to do it. And then you got that paralysis at the end. And she has a lot of range on her skills, right? She's got a lot of range on those damn things. Like, she can be pretty far away and still hit these opponents, which is wild. Now, we got to be careful. The other thing that's nice is, you know, because she's got this remove all debuff, she doesn't get caught and entangled like a lot of other characters do, right? Well, she does have the invincibility also on the 3rd, but it's only for 3 seconds. And as you guys can see, you know, old girl murders it, right? 1 minute and 30 seconds. No Urus, normal rank uniform, level 60. I mean, she murdered that damn thing because her all defense down is at 60%. I mean, that's jacked up to like 72%, something like that, with her all debuff effect passive, right? I mean, it's just, it's really, really OP in regular world boss. It's just because she doesn't have an awakened skill, doesn't have a tier 3, it hurts her, right? It really, really hurts her. And I really don't like it when Netmarble does this kind of crap. Every character that we get, every time we get a new uniform for a character that doesn't have an awakened skill or a tier 3, they should give one, because this really does feel like a baiter, right? It feels like Netmarble's trying to bait everybody to spend a little money, and then God knows when we'll get a tier 3 or awakened skill for this character. And that sucks, you know, like what they did with White Fox. It was months after she got her uniform, her paywall uniform. It was months after that before she got her tier 3. And I'm kind of afraid they'll do the same thing with Black Cat. I hope they don't do that. Hopefully in a mid-month patch, which it's been data mined that it's going to be Hawkeye. From what I've seen, take that with a grain of salt, but that is what I've seen as far as data mines are concerned. So maybe she won't get one at all, and people will buy this uniform and feel like, man, I really wish she had an awakened skill tier 3 so I could use her against Null, take advantage of that amazing leadership that she has. But she is a very useful character, man. I mean, seriously, like if you have like some good villains, you got Mephisto, he's got insane all defense down. Doom has insane all defense down on his tier 3. Loki, of course. Like if you have these characters, having her will help you in the dispatch missions, getting those clears, and also in Dimension Rifts, right? But like I said earlier, even on my account with 25%, not having Loki, I have to manually play to get the clears at the highest level in those game modes. So that is something also to think about. And I've tried every team combination that I can absolutely think of when it comes to that. I've played with pretty much every villain I could. So is she worth $20? I mean, it's going to depend on you. You know, if you value Dimension Rifts and you value dispatch missions, then yes, you know, she would be worth it. She would be worth it. She's going to buff Loki, right? Who's pretty much the strongest character in the game as far as doing damage in those game modes. And if you want to get the most, I guess, out of ABX, you want to get that extra 5% all attack. If $20 is worth an extra 5% all attack, I guess okay. But personally, I don't think it's really worth it for that reason. But maybe my tune will change once I level her up, get her to level 70, max her out a little bit, and then try her out in the Dimension Rifts and dispatch missions and see how she does then with other team compositions to see if it's going to be a lot better, because I really do think that's going to be a big difference having her at level 70 instead of level 60, having some Urus on her, having her beefed up. But the girl does got power. She is a good standalone character, and you know, if you really like the uniform and you decide to go ahead and queue it up for regular world boss, I mean, she's going to get it done for you. She's got a lot of damn power. She's very, very strong. And even with a proc, like if you just do 3, delay 3, 4, 5, she still will do really, really good damage. So let me know how y'all feeling about Black Cat. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT+7 time. The link is in the description below. And I thank you for watching. And Merry Christmas to all of you. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.